Tanzania's Electoral Commission has declared incumbent President Samia Suluhu Hassan the winner of Wednesday's presidential vote with around 98% of the ballots. The government has been defending its response to the protests and unrest since the election. The opposition says hundreds have been killed by security services.
We thank the security apparatus for ensuring that all the chaos witnessed did not alter or stop the election process. The incidents experienced, especially around cities like Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Mwanza, Mbeya and Songwe, were unacceptable, uncivilized and unpatriotic. Patriots build their countries, not destroy it. The government strongly condemns these recent events.
Well, Tanzania's foreign minister has told Al Jazeera that security forces have not used excessive force. He also denied opposition claims that at least 700 people have been killed in a police crackdown. Anger against President Hassan intensified after a popular online influencer was arrested ahead of the election. Hassan ran virtually unopposed after her strongest challenger, Tundu Lissu, was arrested and charged with treason. The candidate from the second largest opposition party was also barred. Let's speak to Alex Vines about this. He's joining us from London. He's the Africa Director at the European Council on Foreign Relations. Thank you so much for being with us, Alex. So President Hassan securing nearly 98% of the vote in a race where major rivals were excluded. How credible is this election process in the eyes of Tanzanians and also observers? And what does it mean for the legitimacy of the government moving forward?
Well, not credible. As you've just reported, the two main candidates were kind of blocked. There's been a campaign of harassment and intimidation, and 98%. I mean, what a result. The only place in the region that we could see a similar sort of pattern is Rwanda, with the election or re-election of President Kagame. So clearly not a credible election. And there have been, as you've reported, demonstrations across the country. There's been violence, there's been death. The opposition figure might be a bit on the high side, but 500 is what I'm hearing is a credible figure. That's still extraordinary amount of people to be killed in the demonstrations that have happened across Tanzania.
Did you expect this?
All the demonstrations have been linked to the politics. Some of them have been criminality.
Did you expect this level of unrest, Alex, given Tanzania's history as a relatively political, stable and calm compared to its neighbors like Kenya? Does this represent, do you think, a deeper shift in public sentiment in Tanzania?
Well, this is Generation Z again. I think there's a youth are frustrated. They only really know one party in government since independence in 1961, so way before they were born. And I didn't expect this type of violence because the security forces in Tanzania are very effective compared with some of their neighbors. We saw 3 months of violence after the elections in Mozambique in October last year. That was a similar pattern to this, although opposition leaders were not barred from running in those particular elections. So this is a very, very serious crackdown. It's also actually the first time that Samia Hassan has been elected, because, as your viewers will remember, in 2021, she took power from her predecessor because he was deceased in office. Yeah. And so there wasn't an election.
Indeed. You mentioned the Gen Z protests, and indeed a lot of the demonstrations, it would seem, in Tanzania have been youth-led. Do you think this is the beginning of a broader youth-driven movement similar to what we've seen in Kenya and more recently in Madagascar?
Yeah, I do. I think this is all about the demographic curve, and Tanzania has one of the quickest, fastest demographic rates in the world. It's also got growing inequality. And so there are many young Tanzanians who think they're being left behind. And so this is part of a broader continental pattern. But as you say, we saw the Generation Z leading demonstrations in Tanzania that resulted in an unconstitutional change there, a coup. And you've seen the violence that happened in Madagascar, my apologies. You've seen also what's happened in Mozambique last year and more recently in Kenya.
Right. So what are the possible scenarios as far as Tanzania is concerned if the government continues to suppress dissent? Do you think we're going to see a protracted crisis, or is there still room for dialogue and reform?
So I don't see the violence prevailing in the way that it did in Mozambique. The military are intervening now. There is a curfew. There has been a cut of internet. So there will be suppression in the short term. And I would imagine that there will be some opening up of dialogue as we move forward. It's not sustainable, this pattern for Tanzania. The government of Samia Hassan will need investors, it will need stability, and it will need multipolarity. So it can't just rely on China or the Gulf states. It's looking for international capital too to develop some of the big projects that it's going to have to deliver to create jobs, basically.
Alex Vines, thank you so much for your insights. Thank you for talking to us about the situation in Tanzania. Alex Vines is from the Council on Foreign Relations, joining us from London.
Don't miss out. Get a full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.